Let's break down the 3 ETFs that could build you $1 million portfolio. Now, I call this the Core 3 strategy, and it's the same foundation that I use for my own family's long-term investing plan. Let's dive into it. ETF number 1. Stock ticker is called VOO, V-O-O, and it's basically the S&P's workhorse. So let's start with the backbone of America's wealth, the S&P 500. Now, a lot of you guys might be thinking, what is that? This is a group of the 500 largest companies in the United States, the most powerful businesses in the world. A lot of these companies you've already heard of, names like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google. So when you buy the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, or what we call VOO, you're buying a piece of all of those big companies. Now, Warren Buffett is said to be the most intelligent investor of all time. He said it best. He says a low-cost S&P 500 index is the best investment that most Americans can make. So why? Because when you own VOO, you don't have to guess who wins next year because you own all of America's big winners automatically. Historically, the S&P 500 has returned about 10% a year. That includes the Great Recession. It also includes COVID and every market dip in between. So VOO is your foundation. It literally, I have hundreds and thousands of dollars invested into this one ETF. So it's how you can own America's growth story without actually needing to predict the future. ETF number 2, stock ticker VTI. Now, this is the total market accelerator. So VTI is Vanguard's total stock market ETF. While VOO covers the 500 biggest companies, VTI covers the entire U.S. market. So over 3,500 companies from large to small across every single industry. Think of VTI as owning the entire U.S. economy, from Apple all the way down to the small, hungry startups that could become the next big thing. So Charlie Munger, who's an incredible investor and a partner of Warren Buffett, once said, the big money is not in the buying or the selling, but in the waiting. That's why VTI represents patience that pays off. It includes exposure to mid-cap and small-cap companies that often grow faster than all of the big giants that we talk about all the time. So if VOO is the engine, think of VTI as the turbo booster. Together, they give you the best of both worlds, stability and growth. ETF number 3, stock ticker VXUS. This is the global diversifier. So I want you to start thinking global. And once we start thinking outside of the United States, VXUS is going to be the ETF for you. Now, this is Vanguard's total international stock ETF. This ETF holds over 7,000 companies outside of the United States, countries from Europe to Asia to all of the emerging markets. Ray Dalio, one of the greatest investors of all time, said, don't put all your eggs in one basket, even if that basket is America's basket. And you know what? He's right. The U.S. dominates right now, but other countries grow too, and sometimes faster. If you've ever watched my video on why I'm actually investing in Africa right now, it's because some of the fastest growing economies just so happen to be in Africa. So when you own VXUS, you're owning the rest of the world and balancing your portfolio so that you don't have to be dependent on just one country's success. So when the United States slows down, knock on wood, hopefully it never does, international markets often rise. That's why holding VXUS is your global opportunity fund. So now let's talk about 2 optional ETFs that you can add as you start to build your wealth. So bonus ETF number 1, stock ticker SCHD. This is your dividend powerhouse. So this ETF focuses on high quality U.S. companies that pay strong quarterly dividends. Think about it as this: companies that's giving you a rental every quarter out of the year. So typically it's going to be around 3 to 3.5% per year. Now, this is real cash that you can actually reinvest or live off of. So it's perfect if you like the idea of your portfolio paying you while you wait for the upside. Bonus ETF number 2, stock ticker QQQ. Now, this is one of my favorites. I have to admit, I'm a little bit biased, but this is the innovation ETF. QQQ tracks the NASDAQ 100. What is that? That is the 100 biggest tech-driven companies. Companies like Apple, Amazon, Tesla, Google, and this one that you know, NVIDIA. And Warren Buffett once admitted, I was too dumb to buy Google and Amazon early. So what QQQ does is that fixes those types of mistakes, because it's your ticket to owning every major innovator at once and without gambling on a single stock. If you believe in technology and if you believe that technology is part of the future, QQQ is your growth engine. Now, here's the math that literally is going to blow your mind, because it did the same thing to me about a decade ago. If you had invested just $500 a month into these ETFs over the last 20 years, you would already have well over $1 million today. Not because you traded, not because you're super bright, not because you're smart, not because you timed the market, but because you were patient and literally did nothing but just stayed. That's it. You got to allow for compounding to take over. One of the best skills you can have is to shut out all the noise and to just keep investing. So here's the deal. Wealth doesn't come from timing the market. It comes from your time in the market. Start small, stay consistent, and let compounding do what it does best. So as we wrap up, if this episode has sparked anything inside of you and you're ready to start building your portfolio the right way, I want to invite you to join my next free investing class that's literally happening soon. Now, what I'll do is I'll walk you through exactly how I invest in these ETFs for my own family, how to start small, and how to stay consistent so that you can build at least your first $100,000 in wealth. All you got to do is just click the link in the show notes to RSVP. Now let's learn together and let's build financial freedom together. As we get out of here, just remember this. Someone is sitting in the shade today because they planted a tree a long time ago. That is a quote from our guy, Warren Buffett. So start planting your tree today. Trust me, you'll thank yourself and so will your future family. Hey, I'm Jamil Frazier and this is The Different. We'll see you on the next one.